guests today. We have a distinguished guest from the South, Elvis. I cannot express my honor in you being here today, so thank you for your visit.
First of all, I'd like to tell you all, when I got up this morning, I put on my blue suede shoes. I was hoping to sing you a song, and I had chosen Jailhouse Rock. Y'all know that song? Yeah. But then, I was really hoping that you would love me tender for singing. Love me true. But then I found out that Dan was going to run the show. Dan, you ain't nothing but a hound dog. You ain't never caught a rabbit, and you ain't no friend of mine. Okay, baby, here we go. I gotta get myself dialed in on this. Okay, here we go. Listen carefully. Frankenstein was made up of parts dug up from the grave. Today you can buy cloned body parts on the internet. You are an evil scientist named Dr. Amazon Einstein. Inform us what type of body parts and from whose clone you're going to buy from Amazon to build your Amazon Einstein. Dave Scott.
Thank you for that very easy topic. Yeah. Bow to the king.
You're welcome. Thank you, baby.
Well, if I were to go on Amazon.com and buy my cloned body parts to build my perfect example of a human being, first, the perfect example would have to be a male. Because we all know the flaws of the female. So I was, this topic came up as I was telling my son everything you need to know about women before you get married. That's for another day. What we'll talk about is the perfect male. Well, the perfect male would be 6'2", 205. And he would be able to run fast in order to not be caught by some evil female early in his life. That's the secret of being married, is to get married when you can't run anymore. That's the perfect time. Perfect timing for marriage, I should say. And this whole event of doing this would be a foo-for-ah for me, because my son's not listening to me about any of this anyway, so I'm wasting my breath telling about this. But I am writing it down for him so that someday when he goes through his first divorce, he said, I should have listened to my father about everything he needs to know about the flawed female species. So any male parts would do, because men are the king.
Dave, that was really good, except for the part where you said you get married when you can't run anymore. My wife tells me it's when you can't hunt. Ooh. Okay, listen carefully. Christian. Good morning. I'll let you settle in.
What does my watch say? This is the watch I
Now we're going to let her rest.
It says time to set.
You are a being living on a planet far, far from Earth. This planet Earth was recently discovered by your scientists. Earth on your planet is all the rave. Earth is the new black. It is Halloween on your planet. Describe to us your typical Earthling costume. Matthew.
I'm a little confused. I'm on Earth?
No. You are a being living on a planet far, far from Earth. This planet, you got it?
I think I
Okay.
Well, contrary to my esteemed colleague David, I do actually find that it's the female form which is... And with the coming trend of Halloween costumes, I've given a little thought to what makes a good costume. And it seems that these days, whenever I go out for the Halloween evening, it happens to be skimpily clothed blank. So we have the sexy police officer, the sexy nurse, the sexy teacher. you could pretty much fill in any sort of profession in that slot and really have a good time with it. As for myself, I find that the perfect costume is something which completely disguises one in that case, because when you're walking around and mingling amongst the beauty that's amongst and present in this foofara, you can sneakily roll up to people and meet them and say hello. So that's perfection in my book.
Thank you. Straightforward question. Tracy, listen to the question carefully because you will be very creative. The costume of the year in the year 3010, what will it be?
I find it funny that there's a lot of foofara going on this morning because, Chris, I know that right now if you could hunt any woman down, it'd be your wife. So you say that. And then Dave, the other day, you said, Teresa, you are perfect. So what is this nonsense about women being flawed? But if I was to create the perfect costume for the future, I think that it would be something very simple. It seems like these days costumes get more and more complicated and more expensive. You know, you go out and you see your, like Matt had said, the nurse or the doctor or the St. Pauli's girl. I've been all of those.
How about
So I would keep it something very simple, very inexpensive, and I think I would focus just on candy. I talked to my manager the other day, and he said that he hands out those giant-sized candy bars every single year. So you can imagine the kids that come back year after year after year to his house just to get that. But he's outsmarted them because a lot of the older kids come back 2 rounds in the same night. But he's got them all down. So I would maybe take the attention off the costume, because we know if it goes in the direction it's going, we're all going to be naked walking around. And I would switch it just to candy and fill ourselves with that sweetness.
Thank you. This year, you have decided to save money and make a costume of all the years past costumes you've used. These include the Blob, Fred Flintstone, Count Dracula, Madonna, and Elvis. Tell us about this year's costume, Joan.
Well, thank you. I don't know where you got that list of costumes because it is not mine. I was Princess Leia, ballerina, fancy lady with a feather in my hair. I was very into being girl and princess especially, and pink and frilly, or I'm not leaving the house, pretty much. So, Frankenstein, I wouldn't even go close. I wouldn't even walk next to a Frankenstein. Brody. So, the foofara of my childhood and Halloween, it's been a long time since I dressed up, obviously. Those were all little kid costumes. So if I were to combine them all with the 3010 concept of weaving pure light and color because we're naked, so there's nothing else to do, I would want to go as a sunset or a sunrise.
How would you do that? Streaming color and surrounded by ocean with a bright sun. You know, it would be awkward to walk around. I'm trying to visualize you getting through the door.
That might not, I might not be one of the ones that he goes and talks to, but it would be beautiful. Thank you.
This year, you've decided to save money and make a costume of all the years past costumes you used. No, I'm sorry. If you ask someone from the Middle East, what would the typical American costume be, they would answer a camouflage leisure suit with a gun as an accessory. You now live in Iran, and it is Halloween. You want to bring a better light to Americans. Describe to us a more peaceful costume. Sylvia, please.
Well, what kind of foofara is this? Iran and creating a costume that is better than camouflage and all of that military stuff that people are accustomed to associating with Americans. I would like them to think of Americans as friends, people open to sharing, people open to talking with them about problems. So I think first of all, I'd start off with this wizard hat. So it would have to be something kind of magical in order to change everything that has gone on before. I would go and say, let's all pretend we could be wizards. We can do and be and say anything that we want to. We can change things. We can create love where there is hate. We can create peace where there is war. Let's all come together and really do this right now. And I think I would start with the children, because after all, they are the ones who have not yet been tainted with all of this history of fear and dread and thinking that all of the Americans are such terrible people. So let us remember the children and know that there is always hope.
Very nice. You were invited to a masquerade party. At the last minute, the host changed the party to a formal black and white tie. Your email was hacked and you never received the message. How did the party go in the chicken costume, Jonathan? No hiding behind the camera.
My chicken costume?
Yes, sir.
Well, it actually went pretty well, because the caterer forgot to show up, and there was a big foofara. So what I had was 300 very, very hungry, drunk people. Because they had no hors d'oeuvres and lots of alcohol, and they were all toasted. So when the chicken walked in, remember those old cartoons with the pot and Bugs Bunny's in there? And it's actually Peter Lorre. I understand that. No, it's not very good. So it's kind of like that. They all saw me cooked, or they would pull the running out of the oven. It would be cooking in there, and in their mind. So when I came in, I was this steamy roasted chicken walking through the door. So I got attacked by everybody and chewed. And I did say foofara, but thank you very much. That's really what happened that night. I was the center of attention, and sometimes that's really good to be at a party. But by the end, when the rubber suit came off and they were all chewing nothing, and they saw my DVDs, they were not very happy.
Let's give Elvis a hand.